the 4 letters which we are going to elaborate. Just wanted to share with you for a few seconds so that you can just imprint it in your mind, HRIP. And we'll be picking up each one of these letters and just see how this works for you and how you can implement this. So H here stands for handle. Handle means handling your money. It's a very, very, very simple thing to know, very simple thing to understand, that you as individuals should know how to handle your own inflows and outflows independently. Independently on your own, you should be able to have a knowledge, have an understanding upon your inflows, which means where your money is coming from, and your outflows, which means where your money is going, and you should be able to handle, manage, and deal with all of that without any external guidance. Okay, so step to financial inclusion is having a bank account. You may have any source of income or you may not have any source of income. All right, it doesn't matter. No matter how small your inflows are, no matter what is your source of income, you may have a regular source of income. You may be in a job. You may be a freelancer who does not have a regular source of income. You may be a student who has earned some stipend through some internship. You may be a student who's just earned some scholarship in something, or if not any of these, you may just be a normal kid who's receiving money from your grandparents, your nana, nani on visiting them, from your relatives on visiting any function. So even if you have this sort of money with you, which you have collected, that is your income, right? You can proudly say that I have an income, right? And no matter how small that source was, how small your savings are, you should be aware about that and you should be able to take control of it. And the first step to do is to have your own bank account, which is operated by you. It's important for us to understand that this is not how you can take control or charge of your finances, right? The first step is to have knowledge and act upon your own transactions. At that very moment when I realized it, I went to the bank physically. First of all, I opened a bank account at a third-party bank, which was a bank which was different from where my parents worked. I opened a separate bank account, and then I got an ATM issued, I got a checkbook issued, I got a net banking password, I got a passbook issued, right? These are the 4 essential things that I got first of all, and then that I started doing the transactions. So if you are like me or you were like what I was, you need to understand right now that unless and until you understand how essential it is to have your own transactions, about your own records, about your own inflows, outflows, you cannot proceed with anything else. So this is the first very simple action, which I think a lot of you have already done. Have a bank account and operate it independently. Okay, do transfers, do your own withdrawals, do your own deposits, ensure that your passbook is up to date, or you can generate statements through a net banking account. That is also perfectly fine, but do it on your own. So this is the first thing that you should do once the session ends. The second letter is your R, which stands for record. Okay, recording is a preliminary step to budgeting. It's step 0 of budgeting, right? Recording if you're not doing it right now. And I'm also going to tell you and show you how to do recording. Okay, so simply put, recording is just writing down and keeping a track of all your incomes, sources. Again, no matter how small it is. When I say money, when I say income, I do not mean that you can do it only when, or this session is only for those people who are earning something, right? Please remember this. And if you have this thought in your mind that, this session is going to be relevant for me, or whatever is being taught is being relevant for me once I start earning, remove that thought, because I made that mistake. I made that big mistake when I was in college and my postgrad. I do not want you to make this mistake. So when I say income, when I say you need to record it, it means any type of money that you have, whether it's from your grandparents, as a gift, as a charity, as an income, whatever, you need to record it. And you also need to record that what are the various avenues where you are spending it. And the easiest way to do it, the easiest way to record it, which I use and a lot of other people also use, which is tried and tested, is using an Excel sheet for that, or using your phone notes feature in your phone if you are on the go. So I'm again going to share the screen. I'm going to show you that how I do it. It's a real budget, that not a budget. I do not prepare a budget, to be very honest. I just maintain a record. So it's a real record that I maintain for myself for the month of January 2021. I'm just going to share my own Excel sheet. A few of the, these items, these amount is crossed, but this will give you a general idea. I have these figures in front of me. When I maintain such an Excel sheet, or I maintain such a kind of a record in my mobile as well, these amounts that are there in front of me, right? They make me aware of what I'm doing with my money. If I do all of these calculations in my mind, okay, I earned a salary of 10,000 rupees. Out of 10,000 rupees, I spent, let's assume 5,000 rupees on my conveyance. I spent 4,000 rupees on buying some items for gifts. I spent 2,000 rupees on eating out. I spent 5,000 rupees on conveyance. It's not going to help me in the long run, because all of those things that I'm building up in my mind and calculating in my mind, it's not being in front of me in terms of numbers. It's not going to help me to compare anything. It's not going to help me to control my expenditures. It's not going to help me to prepare my budget or forecast what I'm going to do in the future. But once I have these things in front of me, I can easily calculate that, okay, in the month of January 2021, I spent 4,200 rupees on conveyance because I used cabs, only cabs. Even I had to travel a distance of, let's assume 3 kilometers, I used cabs maybe instead of an auto or a rickshaw or a scooty or whatever, right? And maybe because of this figure that's in front of me, 4,200 rupees per month, I take a decision that, okay, in the month of February, I am going to go by cab, but return on an auto, or maybe I'm going to take a shared taxi with someone, one of my colleagues, right? So it helps me to be aware of what am I doing? Where am I spending? First thing, it allows me to compare over different time periods. Again, very important. And third thing, it allows me to be aware about my savings or my deficits. So from the screen, from the sheet itself, I can easily calculate my savings. My total receipts were 4,000. So obviously, sorry, 40,000. So everyone knows how to use the Excel sheet. I deduct my expenses from my income and I have a savings of 26,082. When I have this clear-cut picture of my savings, I can then decide what to do with these savings, whether to invest, whether them, to buy something as a gift or to do anything, right? Unless and until I have these figures in front of me, it's going to make a mess in my mind, and I'm never going to be able to take a tangible decision about my expenditures, my sources, my divisions, and what I'm supposed to do with the savings or the deficits that I have. Start recording, be aware of your financial patterns, have those figures in front of you to allow you to track, to allow you to compare. And then once you feel that now you know how your spending patterns behave, what is your financial behavior, what all are you overspending or what are you underspending on, then maybe go ahead and create a budget for yourself if that suits you. Okay, so this is the second action that you need to take, record keeping. Very simple thing to do. The third thing is P. P stands for protect. Okay, and the inflation basically and the difference in the time value of money leads to a reduction in the purchasing power of money, and that is the reason why you need to protect your money. Okay, this I'll just show you. This is a 100 rupees note. Oh, it's getting blurred when I bring it in front of a camera, but this is a 100 rupees note. It's nothing but it's a piece of paper. Please pardon me for saying this. It's nothing but it's just a piece of paper which is printed in genuine and verified press. It's signed and authenticated by a relevant authority, and it is because of this authentication. It's signed by the governor, by the way, RBI governor, right? Kabhi dhyan se padha ho, you would know this. It is because of this authentication and this authority that this piece of paper derives its value. Otherwise, it's nothing. Okay, this piece of paper becomes relevant for you because it has some value, and it is valuable for you because it allows you to purchase and buy certain goods and services which you need to satisfy your needs and wants. You need to protect this value of this money, this worth of this 100 rupees note, Because if it becomes valueless or its value decreases, your ability to exchange this note for your needs, your wants, your desires, your survival, your satisfaction, all of that is going to decrease, right? Value of money does not remain same. It changes over a period of time because the time value of money, because of the inflation, because of the consumption patterns, because of demand, there are n number of factors that influence them, okay? And it is a reality of the society that we live in. So what do we need to do? We need to protect the value of our money. And to do that, we need to put our money in certain instruments that beat the level of inflation, that beat the rate at which the prices of goods and services are rising. If I have this 100 rupees note once again, and I know that I can use this 100 rupees note to buy 1 kg of rice, and that 1 kg of rice is sufficient to feed my entire family for 1 month. Hypothetical example, right? So I know for 1 month, I just need 100 rupees note. It's going to buy me 1 kg of rice, which is sufficient for the survival in terms of food for my entire family. But after an year, 1 kg of rice will become worth rupees 120. And this 100 rupees note is not going to be sufficient to feed your entire family for 1 month. So basically the worth of this 100 rupees note has decreased, and therefore you need to put this 100 rupees note not in under your mattress, not in a container in the kitchen, not in a bank savings account, not in your cupboard. That's not going to protect the value of your money. You need to put this 100 rupees note in certain instruments that can at least beat the level of inflation. The level of inflation is 4 to 5%, which means, in simple terms, it means that every year the goods and the services are going to cost you 4 to 5% more. The prices are going to increase by 4 to 5% every year. This means that this 100 rupees, the value of this 100 rupees should at least increase by 4 to 5% every year, so as to ensure that using this 100 rupees note, you're able to buy the same amount of goods and services that you were buying maybe in the previous year. Okay, so there are multiple instruments available wherein you can put your money and protect it. For example, we have fixed deposits, one of the safest. These are not meant for growing money, but they are meant for protecting money, right? That's why they are relatively safe instruments. They allow you to beat inflation. The rate of FDs, the rate of return that you get on FDs is somewhere between 5% to 7%, depending upon the duration of the FD, depending upon whether you are a senior citizen or not, what category of an individual or a person you are. But yes, when you keep your money, transfer or take out your money from your home and from your savings bank account and put it in an FD, which is one of the instruments of beating inflation, you are at least able to ensure that the value of this 100 rupees is intact. Okay, so the third thing is that you need to protect your money, which means if you have a bank account, if you're maintaining a record, but you have kept your money in a bank savings account, you need to take out the liquid money and put it into an instrument which at least helps you to protect the value of the money. If you who do not know how to invest, let me tell you, the process is not difficult. Right now, I won't be able to show you how to practically invest because of paucity of time, but there are so many tons of educational videos available on YouTube which actually show you how to invest your money. There are so many intermediaries that have come across, right? So many intermediaries, so many platforms, so many websites which are registered with the stock exchange, which are registered not only with the stock exchange, registered intermediaries which allow you to invest. So the only thing that I have to tell you is the process of investing is not difficult. Okay, what is a concern is the second question, that where to invest and how much to invest. This is a question that keeps raging in. The answer is going to vary for every individual, but there are so many instruments of investments, so many assets available. There are mutual funds, right? Different types of mutual funds, equity, balance, debt, tax saving. There are stocks, which are, investing directly in the stock markets. Then there are sovereign gold bonds, SGBs. There's real estate, and there's another category called the cryptocurrencies, which are not recognized as assets per se, but then it's an investment. It's a kind of an investment. So there are multiple types of investment opportunities and instruments apart from the ones that I said. How do you determine that out of all of these cryptocurrencies, real estate, equities, stocks, mutual funds, sovereign gold bonds, how do you decide where to go and how do you decide how much to invest? Depends a lot on one thing, which is your risk appetite, right? The amount of money that you have in your hands is a constraint in certain cases, in certain kinds of investment, for example, real estate. But a lot of investment opportunities or assets are there which allow you to invest even when we have small amounts of money. Okay, that's why, as per me, the major factor that's going to determine that what kind of investment opportunity you are going to pick up and how much you're going to invest is your risk appetite. If you have risk appetite, simply means that you need to ask yourself that how much loss am I willing to bear? Okay, this is the simple question that you need to ask yourself. If I have 1,000 rupees, let's assume this is my 1,000 rupees, this is 100 rupees by the way, but if I have 1,000 rupees and I invest this somewhere with the hope that it's going to grow in the future and I'm going to earn a return, how much of this 1,000 rupees are you willing to lose over a period of time? If out of this 1,000 rupees, I am not willing to lose anything. I'm like, I do not have any risk appetite. I do not want to take any risk. I do not want to, lose anything out of this 1,000 rupees. Then there are certain instruments, for example, the sovereign gold bonds or even the fixed deposits. Fixed deposits I use as a word for protection, but there are certain fixed deposits which allow you to offer a return over and above inflation. So a small amount of return is there in FDs as well. So there are instruments in which there's virtually no risk. Okay, there's virtually no risk. I won't say zero risk, but I say virtually no risk because there are some hidden risks in these FDs and SGBs also, which I'll come to later maybe. But then these are relatively safe instruments. A high probability that you're not going to lose anything if you invest 1,000 rupees. So if you do not have any risk appetite, you go for these instruments. But if you have some medium risk appetite, let's assume you're willing to lose or you're capable or you can afford to lose maybe 20% to 50% of your 1,000 rupees in a hope that the money is going to grow. It can either go upward or downward, right? I'm just focusing on the downward side right now. Okay, it can, if it has the probability of losing 50%, it has the probability of gaining 50% as well. But if that is something that you can afford, you can go for the SIPs in mutual funds. You can go for debt mutual funds. You can go for debentures. You can also go for real estate. Okay, and if you have a high risk appetite above 50%, you can afford losing more than 50%, then you can go for small cap equity stocks, equity mutual funds or cryptocurrencies as well. A lot of these mutual funds, equity mutual funds, have a risk appetite of less than 50% as well. I've just told you very basic things. Depending upon your risk appetite, you decide how much to invest and where to invest, and you always start small. I believe that may come is that when to invest and how long. So you should never try to time the market as per me, right? There is, because I said that now is the right time to invest. I do not mean that since the markets are down right now, so you should invest. No, that is not what I meant. What I meant is that you should not try to, unless and until you're an expert in the stock, in the markets, in the investment arena, unless until you are an expert or you have tried and tested techniques for timing the market, you should not time the market. When I said you should not time the market, I mean is that you should not think that, okay, 1 month from now the prices of gold are going to fall, then I should buy gold. Then 1 year from now the prices of gold are going to rise, then I should take out my money from gold. No. Do not get into all of these unless and until you are an expert or there's an expert sitting in alongside you who's guiding you. You do not need to do any of the things. Just go ahead and invest whenever you feel like investing, and invest for the long term. That's the duration that you should target. I wouldn't recommend trading, short-term trading, unless and until, again, you're an expert and you like to have adventure in your life. But if you just want to invest for the purpose of having a passive income and growing your money, invest for the long term. By long term, I do not mean the income tax for a long term of 1 year, at least 5 years. There's anyways a risk of losing your money if you have money in your hand. So instead of being fearful about that risk, just accept it and invest it. You need to be aware of your risk appetite. You need to be confident enough with the savings that you have, and you need to have that desire and will to grow your money with the existing money that you have.